Well, hi there. I'm Michael Hausum of the Hausum Group at Vista Pacific Realty, and this is the Orange County Real Estate Marketplace Update for the week ending July 6th. Happy Independence Day, or I hope you had a great Independence Day, depending on when you see this. So one of the sources that I use for this update had a very interesting editorial on pricing for this week's update. And if you get this via my email update, you may have already read it. If not, click on the link below and it'll take you to what Stephen had to say. Basically what he said is that number one is that the initial price that you choose is critical in the timeliness of selling a house. Yeah, that can be true. Number two is that if you start too high, you're never going to get as high of a price as if you started at the correct price to begin with. And then lastly, he said that if you do price drops, or rather, if you set the pricing of the home initially such that you have to do a price drop, that ultimately you're not going to get the right price for the house. Now, I have some fundamental disagreements with what he had to say, and I do want to spend a couple of minutes at the beginning of this video talking about them. First of all, when it comes to pricing, a good real estate agent doesn't give a seller the price. The reality is the home is the homeowner's. It's their money and it's their price. Secondly, and I don't know how this ended up happening, but real estate is the only business, well, residential real estate, it's the only business on earth where the sales guy is expected to give a price. If you go down to Nordstrom and you buy a pair of shoes, the sales guy on the floor didn't set the price for the shoes. If you go over to Fletcher Jones, whether the Mercedes or the Audi store, and buy a car, the sales guy there didn't set the price either. The marketing and advertising guy's job, that's the listing agent, his job is to market and advertise the product and do whatever he can to get the best price for the seller. But the price itself, that should be chosen by the owner of the home. Secondly, the big issue with pricing of a home has to do with timing. The more patient a seller is and the more time they have to give to the process, the more likely they are to get a higher price for the home. They put a price on the home, put it out in the market, and everybody that's in the market has a chance to see it and evaluate it. And then, if they have the time, they can wait for those buyers to reevaluate the home or for new buyers to come on the marketplace. Now, if for a seller, the option is that money is more important than time, meaning they'd rather have money now and they'd be willing to take a certain amount of a discount to get the money now as opposed to waiting, then you price it differently. But just to come out of the box and say it needs to be priced correctly right away, that's only if the seller literally has no time to wait, to be patient to see what the market will bear. Fundamentally, an offer is very simple. It's simply the buyer's expression of what they think the value to them would be for the home. If a home is priced at a certain level that a buyer realizes that that meets their expectation of value or close to it, they're going to write an offer. If they don't think it meets their expectation of value, they're not going to write an offer. The key for a seller is this: do you have the time to wait for the right buyer for your home, or would you rather discount it and get a lower price but cash right away? For example, this is a listing of mine right now. For these sellers, time is far less important. They are looking and waiting for a high-end retail price for their home. The house has been on the market for a couple of months, and they are not nervous and they are not upset. They are following the plan. This house that just closed escrow a couple of days ago is a completely different story. For this seller, time was far more important than the money. She wanted the home sold right away. She priced the home accordingly, and we sold it within 3.5 days of hitting the market with 4 multiple offers. Again, she was following her particular plan. Okay, that's enough about that. Now you have a little bit of my perspective on pricing of homes and timing. So let's now take a look at what's been going on in Orange County for the last couple of weeks. This graph here shows the active listing inventory year to date in comparison to the previous 3 years. In the last 2 weeks, inventory is up about 1%. Right now, there are 19% more homes on the market than last year this time. And it will likely continue throughout the summer with active inventory slowly growing over the next several weeks and even months. Demand, on the other hand, has gone the exact opposite route. In the last 2 weeks, the demand numbers for the county are down 4%. That's a pretty significant drop. And if you recall, about 3 videos ago, which would have been about 6 weeks ago, I predicted that at that point in May would be the high point of demand for the year, and it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. The biggest change in the last 2 weeks has been in the $1.25 to $1.5 million range. Right now, demand in that price range, it's dropped 14%, and that's kind of trickled out on the rest of the numbers. What we're going to see over the rest of the summer and then into the fall is expected time on market is just going to slowly continue to increase. Probably in 2 weeks when I do this again, we'll already be at a balanced market. So let's take a look at the county numbers by price. Right now, 57% of the inventory and 77% of demand are for homes under $1 million. Here, it's still a very strong seller's market with an estimated marketing time of 64 days. 2 weeks ago, it was just slightly less than that at 61 days. Between $1 million and $1.25 million, it's a balanced market. Now, above $1.25 million, it's a buyer's market. Interestingly, last week, the $1.25 to $1.5 range was a balanced market, but with a significant drop in demand in the last 2 weeks, that has now become a buyer's market as well. Now, of course, the more you go above $1.5 million in asking price, the more of a buyer's market it is, especially at the stratospheric numbers above $4 and $5 million asking prices. And lastly, as I always do, let's take a look at a handful of cities. Because even though the trends seem to be going a little bit slower, there's some interesting changes in a couple of the cities that I picked out. In Costa Mesa, it's barely a seller's market. 84 days expected marketing time, up 12 from 2 weeks ago at 72 days, and up 3 from that at 69 days 4 weeks ago. A year ago, expected marketing time in Costa Mesa was at 65 days. Right now in Costa Mesa, homes are selling for 99.1% of their asking price. In Huntington Beach, it's been much more consistent. It's a seller's market as well, with 77 days expected marketing time right now, barely up from 74 days 2 weeks ago, which was down from 82 days 2 weeks before that. A year ago, the numbers were about the same at 74 days expected marketing time. In Huntington, homes are selling at 98.4% of their asking price. Now, down in South County, interestingly, in Ladera Ranch over the last 2 weeks, it became a much stronger seller's market, dropping from 76 down to 65 days expected marketing time. A year ago, it was at 67 days expected marketing time. Homes in Ladera Ranch right now are selling for 98.1% of their asking price. Mission Viejo has been pretty consistent over the last 2 weeks as well. Right now, it's a seller's market at 68 days expected marketing time, identical to 2 weeks ago, which was a big drop from 91 days a month before that. Interestingly enough, just like in Ladera, at Mission Viejo, 68 days expected marketing time was exactly what it was at this point last year as well. Homes in Mission Viejo are selling at 98.2% of their asking price. In Newport Beach, it continues to be a buyer's market, with things getting a little bit better for buyers as well. Right now in Newport, it's 188 days expected marketing time, which was up from 184 2 weeks ago, which was up from 175 days 2 weeks before that. Last year, on the other hand, Expected marketing time in Newport was at 139 days, much stronger than it is today. Over the last 2 weeks, homes in Newport were selling at 96% of their asking price. Now, I do have detailed numbers for every single city in the county, from San Clemente all the way up to Seal Beach and all the way up to Brea and Fullerton. So if you'd like details on those cities, please contact me. Also, if you would like to hear my strategies for home buyers and home sellers, please contact me. I guarantee you, no matter how many agents you've talked to, there are a few things that I can show you that you've never seen before. My number, 949-413-2371. Also, you can email me, michael@housemgroup.com. Thank you very much and have a great day. It was at not percent, days. Hello, there we go. Got something in my throat. Can you grab me some water? No, you can't.